Welcome. It's an honor to be here with you today and have the opportunity to serve you through this presentation, An Introduction to Business Planning. My name is Holly Aker. I am the Associate Director for the Veterans Business Outreach Center of New England, or the VBOC of New England. We are a resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration. We provide entrepreneurial development services such as business training, counseling, resource partner referrals to transitioning service members, veterans, National Guard, reserve members, and military spouses who might be interested in starting or growing a small business. This presentation was developed to introduce business planning as a tool for developing your business model and assessing viability. It's a fire hose of information, but I'm really hopeful the way that we've attacked it, you're going to have a tangible takeaway that's going to point you in the right direction for building your business plan. Let's start the presentation. Our objective for this session is to help you understand the value of building a business plan and introduce the essential elements that you want to include. A good business plan can help you communicate your vision while identifying and evaluating opportunities, see how they relate to your business, your market, and if they're viable for your model. Finally, we're going to talk about some resources to help you in building a strong business plan. So we're going to start with the why and the when and the how, the important content, and then even some things that you're going to want to avoid. In this session, we introduce the Business Model Canvas as our primary tool for getting you started on developing your business plan. There are several great tools like the Canvas that can help you think through the elements of a business plan and formulate your message. Let's start with why. Here are a couple of key quotes. In the military, you have surely heard this before. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And how about Eisenhower's quote? In preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. This is farming. You make a plan and the weather doesn't cooperate. A late freeze, a hailstorm, too much rain, not enough rain. You have herd issues, you have market issues, you have family issues. A business plan helps you prepare, analyze opportunities, prepare for threats, and helps you pivot where needed. So business planning, why is it important? There are many reasons that we write business plans. I think most importantly, they help guide our decision-making. If you have two paths in front of you and you know a little bit more about what each path offers, it helps you make a decision. For us, it's a plan of action, how and when to do things, and with what resources, helping you make the best strategic decisions, helping you fully understand the opportunity before you start investing and spending. And it helps with decision-making. A good plan highlights potential questions and ensures that you have done the thinking necessary for you to mitigate as much risk as possible. And it helps you communicate your business vision. The plan is essential to a variety of different individuals, like accessing capital, investors for a return, suppliers to see what you're prepared for, if you're prepared for their demand, or even potential partners. Make sure your business plan is a living and working document that changes with the business and will hold you accountable and keep you on track. This is obviously not a one-size-fits-all question, when to do it. But before you start growing something you hope to sell, before you start spending money, have a business plan. By having a strong business plan when you launch, you can ensure that you have a tool to analyze revenue streams. Make sure you go back to it regularly. Make changes, check on your milestones. Start it now rather than later. Let it be your roadmap for your business. Although the entire plan is important, these are the must-haves. In this session, we're going to utilize a business model canvas to help you address these priorities: your concept, your customers, your business and economic models, and how to use those to identify and mitigate risks. A business model canvas, which is often a precursor to writing a business plan, allows you to map out your ideas. A good canvas can be a drawing board, and it will help you start your business plan with ease. Because the formal business plan is where you expand. It's where you highlight and document. It's where you get down to the details. Here's a quick video introduction to the business model canvas. This example, they use a airline, a business which has actually a lot of competition. So let's think about what makes an airline different from the other, and then we're going to talk about the business model canvas in agriculture.
This is the business model canvas. It's just what Beth and Carl will need to craft a powerful business model, and it can do the same for you. Let's dive in and see how it works. There are 9 essential building blocks that make up any business model. When you get all 9 blocks working together, you'll have answered the fundamental questions any business model must solve. We'll start here with customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. Channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the types of relationships you're establishing with your customers and how you're acquiring and retaining them. Pricing mechanisms through which your business model captures value are documented under revenue streams. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model, so you can describe the infrastructure you need to create, deliver, and capture value. The key activities show which things you need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. And once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. Any business model can be mapped this way: 9 building blocks working to reinforce and strengthen each other. But before you make a model for yourself, it helps to see what a breakthrough business model looks like in action, like this one. Low-cost airlines revolutionized air travel thanks to their disruptive business model. Let's first look at their value proposition. A low-cost airline offers ultra-cheap flights to their main customer segment, budget travelers, by adopting a no-frills policy. And this leads to additional revenue streams, because customers pay for their ticket and additional fees on items like food and drink, priority boarding, and luggage. The airlines save even more money through their choice of channels, selling only through call centers and the internet, making for efficient, if not always convenient, customer relationships that are automated and often impersonal. Okay, that covers the right side of the canvas, the part everyone can see. The left side of the canvas is what's going on backstage. Like their choice of key resources, they reduce maintenance and training costs by using a single aircraft model for the whole fleet. And they only fly to cheap airports where it's cost efficient to land, or where they even get paid to touch down. Planes that do land have quick turnarounds, so they get back in the air earning money as quickly as possible. And they form key partnerships with others in the travel industry, like car rental, hotel, and insurance companies. Finally, under cost structures, all maintenance, training, airport, and call center costs are trimmed to their lowest levels. All of these pieces working together make their fares almost impossible for traditional airlines to compete with. There's nothing superior about these airlines except their business models. They're reaching an entirely new segment of travelers out of reach for traditional airlines. Cutting out costs is pretty exciting, right? But wait, just because it's successful for discount airlines doesn't mean it will work for your idea. Luckily, the business model canvas allows you to iterate many models and test them quickly. Let's get started with your own business idea.
And that's what we want to use the canvas for, to test out models and have a good idea of their viability. This is what a business model canvas looks like. You can take a moment and sketch this out on a piece of paper, or hit pause and download a version to fill in. Search business model canvas anywhere and you should get a couple of different ones that you can pull up. So let's just walk through it briefly, and then we're going to go into each section a bit further. For this brief introduction, I'm just going to use rabbits or chickens as a different kind of item to kind of start to plug in, and so you can put it into a vision for yourself. So the very center is actually where you start the business model canvas, the value proposition. What is the value you're trying to deliver to your customers? What is the customer need that your value proposition addresses? So if I have a problem that I'm trying to solve, that's what we relate to the value proposition. What is the value that I'm trying to deliver in that need? For me, when I think about it, the need that I'm looking at in my particular business model, let's say I have rabbits, is that there aren't any local producers around. Restaurants like to have rabbit on the menu, but they're ordering it from an out-of-state distributor who's bringing it in. I see that as a problem that I would like to solve. That's a customer need that I would like to address. Number two, who are we solving this problem for? Who are the customers? So for me, that's the restaurants that are within 30 miles that I want to sell rabbits or poultry to. They want it on their menu. They're looking for local options. They're looking for fresh options. And the farmer's market. The farmer's market doesn't have any rabbit producers either. And there is a demand for locally raised rabbit as news spreads of the health benefits. The third segment, I'm going to sell my rabbits at the local farmer's market. I'm going to use these channels. How do your customer segments want to be reached? I'm going to go and develop a farm store. I'm going to deliver to any local restaurant that's within 50 miles. Those are my channels. Number four, your customer relationships. What relationships does each customer segment expect you to establish and maintain? How will we get and keep growing our customers? In my example, I'm going to make commitments around the quality and the freshness. I'm going to take orders and deliver them the next day. I am going to have amazing customer service and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Those are the ways that I'm going to build and grow my customers. Then we go over to the other side, key activities. Well, I know I'm going to raise the animal. I'm going to process them. I'm going to sell them for meat, and I might actually sell the rabbit fur as well. I might even allow people to come to the farm and see them and play with them. So those are all the activities that are going to drive and deliver my value proposition that are going to bring in revenue. Key resources and key partners. For key resources, what do you need to deliver the best rabbits in the area? I need cages, I need feed, I need a processor, I need equipment, I need delivery vans, I need coolers. Those are just some of the items that I need to be able to deliver my amazing product to the community. Key partners, the farm store, maybe where I get my supplies, the delivery drivers, my lawyer who's giving me advice and helping me draw up contracts with restaurants, the farmer's market, maybe where I sell my product, my accountant, my bookkeeper for sure, all of the people and partners that are going to help me be successful. And now the bottom is part of our financial model. So we have our revenue streams. How do customers reward you for the value you provide to them? What are my revenue streams that are bringing revenue to my business? How many revenue streams do I have? And then what is the cost structure? What are all of my expenses? And we're going to get into detail, my fixed expenses, my variable expenses, my farmer's market booth fee, my delivery cost, my gas, my marketing supplies, feed and care, all of those things are part of the cost structure. And this is your basic business model canvas. So stay with me. Let's go ahead and take this down and take it apart and fill it in one by one. And use your business model here. That's what we're hoping that you'll do. So the first box, your value proposition. A value proposition is a phrase we use a lot in exploring business ideas. It is the problem that you are trying to solve and your unique solution. And what makes what you're doing of value to your buyer or your customer. An easy to understand reason why a customer is choosing you over the person next to you. Why are you purchasing my rabbit versus the frozen rabbit that's coming off the truck out of the next state? How does my product bring value to my customers and solve their pain point? That's the solution that I'm trying to solve for. Can you make this defensively unique so that nobody can argue your solution is different? There's no comparison. The value proposition is the opportunity. It is the problem plus the solution. When you go to the farmer's market on any given Saturday or Sunday or Wednesday, depending on where you're at, you surely will encounter several farms. At my local market, there are at least 20 vendors. What can you expect to find at a farmer's market? We can find eggs, we find poultry, we find bread, and we have beef and maybe lamb and carrots and beets and leafy greens and herbs. You have cheese and goat milk, all sorts of amazing, wonderful things. Does each vendor cover one of these, or do they traditionally sell multiple items? Why does a customer shop at one vendor versus the other? You're in that market right now doing market research and you're looking for the problem. You're looking for, they have goat milk cheese, but they don't sell herbs. They have beautiful carrots, but they're really expensive. Or you're looking for the one thing in your market that is the problem. You're developing your solution, and that's the opportunity we're looking to expand on. And maybe the solution that you have isn't necessarily a product or a revenue stream. Maybe it's that you're going to sell tomatoes and leafy greens and your herb selection is wide. Maybe you have heirloom carrots or organic eggs. Maybe you see that the problem is really that the farm that's doing it all the best just really has terrible customer service. Maybe they don't have bags. It's the problem that you can identify in your unique solution. That's what we're looking for in box one. Then we're going to start to look at how your problem is being solved for who. That is what we call our customer segment. We want to start by defining very generally the difference between the market and the industry, because we're going to talk about this when we're doing research about who our customer is. You may have heard these terms before. We define the market as customers and the industry as other sellers. The market is our customer who needs the eggs. That could be your next door neighbor. It could be the customer at the farmer's market. It could be the restaurant up the street. It could be that small independent grocery store. It could be a distributor. The customer who's buying the product is your market. The industry is all of the other people involved who work within that area. Other producers, the person who supplies the cartons, the feed person, the drivers. These people define everyone who works within the industry. Defining the market and industry, including the competition, helps to validate your business plan and helps to determine if there is a legitimate demand in the market for your product or service. Now, the channel is how you're going to reach your market, your customers. So the first thing that we want to do is really paint a picture of who is your customer. I like to say your best customer, the one who is coming back week after week, who can't get enough, who loves the product. What does that customer look like? We utilize market research to help us paint that picture. We want to see who's shopping at your local market in each section, who goes to the farmer's market, what restaurants are currently buying that product, who are they currently sourcing it from. Asking these questions helps you segment and break down who your individual customers are. And you need to figure out who you're going to be selling your product or your service to. We really would benefit from knowing all the details that we can about them. Male or female, 18 to 24, 45 to 50. They live in the city, they travel to the farmer's market, they shop at Whole Foods, they shop at Trader Joe's, they shop at the Hannaford market, or we really want to paint a picture of exactly who they are and where they're going, because that's how we find the channel to reach them. It's how we sell to them. And it's how we needle in on what that pain point is. How strong is that pain? Will this customer base grow? Is this a growing community? Is this a trend? This helps us fill in all the information that we can there in the customer segments so that we can make sure that we're getting all of our customers into the right channel. This is why we do the market research. It really helps us to evaluate the customer. When we identify that pain point, we know we're getting it right with our value proposition. It also helps you take out a big portion of the risk. If you do all of this research and by the time you're ready to launch, you have really taken out a lot of the questions about who's buying your product. It's really crucial to understand your consumer base from the onset. And market research lets you reduce the risk while your business is still just a seed in the ground. Gather as much information as you can around the market size, the demographic information. That way you can best understand opportunities and limitations for gaining customers. Often you'll see a business plan and someone will talk about the number of customers that they're going to reach year after year. Does that meet the geography? Are there that many people in the area that are coming week after week to purchase this product or going to this level of restaurant? We really want to make sure that we can understand the market size, the demographics, and the geography. These will help us understand the risks involved with launching our product. The trends and the psychographics. This helps us define and understand people according to their attitudes, their aspirations, any other sort of market research that might be available. This includes things like, I want to shop local. I only eat organic. Grass-fed is the way to go. If it's not free range, it's not for me. Those are the type of psychographics that matter when you're developing your value proposition. And it really helps you make sure that the product that you have is unique to the customer you're trying to meet. So from market research, we can define who our customer is and the target market and the sales channels that we're going to use to reach them. Once you have your target market, we can look for where they're shopping. Are we looking to sell at farmers markets? Is our customer restaurants? Is it independent retailers? How about that major grocery store? Maybe it's e-commerce. Maybe it's a company like Misfits Market or Thrive, or a company that ships pre-made meals or home food delivery service. All of these avenues create options that you're going to want to explore and define based on your market research. How will you reach that customer? And is there opportunity for growth? This information is stuff that you want to be able to pull together. The current market, how much future growth will there be, and how reliable is that market? And the top there, we're going to start talking about customer relationships. So relationships, this is how you keep and grow your customer base. What is it that makes that unique value proposition for that customer, delivered through the channel that you've already defined how you're going to reach them, going to help you build a customer relationship? I love this phrase, unfair advantage, because it helps you look at your competition, look at the customers, look at the market, and say, what's the thing I'm going to do that no one else can do? What's the solution I'm bringing to this problem that other people can't offer because of what you bring to the table? What is your unfair advantage that's going to help you be successful, build relationships with your customers, keep them, and see that you can grow this business? Your business and economic models. In the next few slides, we're going to go into detail around your business and economic model. Your business model is that left side. Those are our key activities, our partners, our resources, and your economic model is the bottom here of the canvas. It covers which products are valuable to your customers and going to be profitable to your business. And then we put these together and we find the perfect blend. What is the pricing model? What are your customers willing to pay? In the business model canvas, this can be boxes 5, 6, and 7, and you can lay this out. The key activities, the resources you need to operate, and what do you need that will help you be successful. We're going to get into a little bit more details on the economic model, which talks a little bit about our fixed, our variable costs. What we'll get into is a lot more detail around actually doing business and how we bring this all together to get to break even. And when will we see the profit that you want? So your business model, why is this important? Your business model is how you make money. This is the customer-facing part. You can add this into key activities. What are the key activities that you will conduct to solve the problem? This is how the business earns its income that is valuated in the form of a financial return. The business model is how a company makes money. What products or services do you sell? The key resources are, what do we need? Do we need cages? Do we need feed? Do we need pasture? Do we need a processor? Do we need delivery trucks? Do we need equipment? Do we need human capital? Do we need coolers? What do we need? And our key partners are part of our business model that help all of this work and function. The farm store where I get my supplies, the delivery driver, that farmer's market where I sell my product, all of this makes up the business model. Now, the economic model, the bottom half, is how we manage the money when we receive it, or before when it's going out. This is the owner-facing part. This is the aspect of the business that the majority of people do not want to focus on, but it can be really problematic if you don't get it right. Businesses often fail because they do not fully comprehend the importance of this topic. There is a place where your business creates value for customers and owners. Successful businesses are able to capture the value they create for their customers and turn it into an economic return. When you understand your economic model, it helps you build a sustainable competitive advantage. It informs your management decisions, provides stability and consistency, and takes away that risk. Let's get into these key components a little bit further. The key components of the economic model are revenue drivers, margins, volume, and operating leverage. There is a relationship between these 4 items, and that relationship really determines whether your company is profitable or not. Most small businesses don't fail because they're not good at what they do. They don't understand these levers and how they fit together, how to change and manipulate each one to be able to get to profitability. These are the 4 levers of the economic model that you can pull to get to profitable. So let me introduce them and then we can expand a little bit further. Revenue drivers. These are all the ways that your business makes money. Every item you sell or service you deliver, anything that you can monetize. Margins are the gross sales dollars minus your expenses. Volumes, the quantity of sales needed to cover expenses. It is only when a company has generated enough sales dollars to cover all the expenses that it can actually begin making money. and our operating leverage. That's the relationship between the company's sales and its expenses. So starting with revenue drivers, this is a key component of your business model. It's how you bring in your revenue. These are the products or services that actually generate revenue for the company through their sale and delivery. One question business owners must grapple with is whether it needs to be narrow or a limited amount in what they offer, or does it need to be really broad with diverse products and services in order to attract a wider customer base? So we talk a little bit about that in the farmers market model. Do I need to have a product or two products or three products that I do really, really well that are really unique? Or do I need to have a broader focus where I offer a big selection of items and that's what's bringing people into my booth? Knowing your customer, knowing the sales channels, understanding your value proposition, and how capable you are of delivering that unfair advantage can help you define this if it needs to be a narrow or broad revenue drivers. If you're going toward a large audience or small with a product or group of products, what the implications could be to your business for each of these different approaches. What is the risk? What is your competitive advantage? What is the disadvantage? One source or several? I definitely like to think a lot about risk when I'm thinking about revenue drivers because you invest a lot in every single revenue driver that you have. And if you have one product and you go all in on it, and then let's say it's strawberries and a hailstorm ruins your crop, then what happens? If you have too many products and you spend more time in a delivery truck on the farm or responding to questions and answers about each single product or putting product collections together, maybe that's taking too much time and your time is valuable and it's not making sense for the revenue that it's bringing in. Or there's a pandemic and restaurants close and all of a sudden your one revenue driver has no channel, or you have too many multiple revenue drivers and there's not enough channels. It's a lot of great questions that can help you understand what your competitive advantage is and what the risk is. Some require a greater investment. How can you prepare and plan based off of understanding your revenue drivers? Just an example, how many revenue drivers does a dairy have? How many ways can a dairy put out items that they can sell? They can do milk, they do butter, they can make cheese, they can have chocolate milk or strawberry milk, they can have half and half and cream and ice cream. So lots of different areas that can create revenue for that farm. And how can they create value for each of those different revenue drivers? How is it all captured in that economic model? Thinking still about milk, elastic demand is one in which the change in quantity demanded due to a change in price is large. So the lower the price, the more quantity that's sold. And these are important when thinking about your revenue drivers. What type of product do you want to have? How many products do you want to have? Is the demand going to be? And then thinking through when you set that price, how does that go up or down based on the market, based on supply and availability? So elastic demand is one in which the change in quantity is attached to the change in price. Inelastic demand is one in which the change in quantity demanded it's not that significant. So the example here versus milk, where the price can go down and the quantity sold could be huge, versus something that's a little bit more unique where the demand doesn't change that much based on the price. So you have the quantity and the price and seeing that it's a very small change. So looking at that and thinking about the products that you have in mind that you're thinking about for your farm, the revenue drivers, How is the demand going to impact your sales? The next piece of the economic model is margins. This is the difference between price and cost. What price do you charge? Does it cover your true cost of doing business? Both your sales related cost, also referred to as variable, things that might change or vary based on how many sales you have, like if you have eggs and you need egg cartons, the more eggs you sell, the more cartons you need. And does it cover your operating cost? So your variable cost, the things that change as the number of products you sell changes, or your operating costs or your fixed costs, the cost you pay no matter what if you sell an egg or you don't. This might be your rent, your business insurance, your business licensing, the website you have up. If your sales revenue cover these costs for a given period of time, you can begin to understand what amount of sales you need to actually become profitable. This is our break-even point. So where do you price your product? What revenue streams have the best margins? The margin covers all of the costs. Of course, the only way to price a product is based on what your customer is willing to pay. And how do you know that? I've talked to people who've said, I asked them, where do you price? How did you decide on that price? And they said, well, that's how much the price next to it was being charged. That's how much they were charging for that honey. I thought, well, but their operation is completely different than yours. They've also been around for 20 years. How do you set the price? Your price is what your customers are willing to pay. And you want to do a lot of market research around that. It helps when you define that customer and you define that channel. Someone also once said to me, if you sell the one thing that's not available at the market, then you can price it at whatever you want to price it that your customers are willing to pay because there's no competition. So margin is the difference between the price and the cost. That's what's left there in the middle. And what do you need to cover your fixed or variable expenses? The next lever is volume. Volume is the amount of total sales dollars needed to cover all of the company's expenses, both its variable and its fixed. A net profit is not actually generated until the company has paid all of its expenses for a given period of time. Margin is the difference between price and cost, and we need to price our product within a certain margin to cover all of those expenses. Then we can see what the volume of sales we need are to get to that break-even point. Here's an example. This example is meant to show the difference between a high volume retailer with lower margins. In this example, we're using Walmart. A high volume retailer with higher margins, less sales. In this example, we're using Whole Foods Market. And an independent retailer like yourself at a farmer's market where you have the least amount of volume, but you might have the highest margin potential. In the Walmart example, margins are usually very low. The store does not make much profit off the items they sell unless they sell a lot of whatever that volume is. Whole Foods doesn't get to the same sales as Walmart, but they are seeing higher margin items. And then at the farmer's market, where you sell direct to consumer, you sell the type of goods where margins are high, but volume is very low. So you're not going to sell the same quantity of items that Walmart does, but you can still generate a profit because you typically make more profit off each of the items that you sell. Think about your own experience as a consumer, or think about a product that you're thinking of selling. Some examples of volume and margin. A cheesemaker might sell to a high volume retailer like Walmart, like Costco or Sam's Club, or one of these massive chains of grocery stores, and they're going to sell them pallets and pallets of cheese. And so they're willing to sell that for $1.10 $10, $1.10 per bar. And then they might go to a retailer like Whole Foods where they're selling to maybe one market or 5 markets or 6 in the region. And they know they're going to sell a good quantity, but not the same sort of national or pallets that Walmart might have. So they're going to sell it for $3.50 a bar because that meets the same level of profit for the volume. Or they're going to sell it direct to consumers, maybe at the farmer's market or online. And there, for the same margin, they're looking in that volume to sell it for $8 a bar. That's how you can play with the lever based on the volume to make sure that you can get to profitability. In our economic model, we can see how we can develop a business around volume and margins, and then make shifts based on our market to reach profitability. The final lever is operating leverage. This is the relationship between the company's sales and variable expenses, and its operating expenses. To see how to manipulate this lever, we need to make sure that we understand all of our variable and fixed expenses. So variable expenses are the costs associated with producing the company's sales revenue. This is your raw material, supplies for your direct product. They're called variable because they vary depending on your company's sales volume. So if I have poultry, or I have rabbits, or I have pigs, this might be the feed, it might be cages, it might be processing, and it changes if I have 10 rabbits or I have 100. The key is that the variable costs do change with sales and inventory. That's the litmus test. You want them to change. Ask yourself, what does it cost to deliver your product or your service? Our fixed costs are the company's recurring operating expenses, such as our light bill, our rent, salaries, things that don't change because of sales. They are set or fixed, and they have to be paid every month, regardless of your company's volume. These are the costs that even if you don't make a single sale, you still have to pay. Insurance, advertising, bookkeeping. Fixed costs are the company's overhead, and they're paid out of the gross margin on each of the unit sales. So ask yourself, does the cost change based on your sales and supply? Does it need to be paid regardless of any sales? The best day in an entrepreneur's business life is the day the business actually makes no money for the first time and it breaks even, as opposed to losing money. In many industries, this can take 3, 5, 7 years to get to this point. Once business owners know their fixed cost, they can tell you how many units of products or services they need to sell to get to break even. Assuming that they know their pricing, they can tell you the dollar amount that volume represents. Break even brings nothing home for the owner. Besides the sales required to break even, how many additional sales now does the business have to generate profit for the owners and still pay all those bills? This is a good way to examine every revenue stream. Ask yourself, does this business opportunity result in income or loss? And at what point will it be break even? Does this revenue stream have really high variable costs? And how does it impact the fixed costs that you're already expending? That's the version of our business model canvas. We covered the value proposition. That's our defendable and unique solution to the problem. Our customer segments, we're painting a picture of our best customer from the start so that we can get to those channels and how we're going to sell and market our items or our service. Our customer relationship, what makes you unique? What is your unfair advantage that's going to help you build customer relationships in that market? What are the key activities that you need to generate revenue? Who do you need to help you operate your business? What are the resources that you need? And then our revenue stream and our cost structure, part of our economic model. That's our volume, our margins, the revenue drivers, and the operating leverage, and how we pull those levers to get to profitability and find success. That doesn't have to mean that that happens right away. You can have a 3 or a 5-year financial model where you're pulling those levers, you're seeing the volume go up, the margins go down, revenue drivers increase, and you're getting to profitability. So taking this information that's coming from that business model canvas, you can see how you can plug a lot of this in to building a formal business plan. We have our concept, our industry description, our market analysis, our sales channels, right? The economics of the business. And then we start to add in a little bit more. Our operating, our goals, labor, who's a part of that management team? What are those risks that you identified and the assumptions that you can make from them as you're building out your plan? Your timeline for developing your business. What does profitability look like in 3 or 5 years? Where are those financial projections? And depending on who your audience is, if you're asking for money, how are you going to use those funds? And different people are going to look at your different things in a business plan. You're going to tailor that plan to your audience. A business plan means different things for different people. So a banker's going to want to see different things than your aunt or your friends and family, people who might be just looking to understand your business model and want to support you. They're looking at customers that they can share your business with and friends that can help you. They're probably not looking at the same details and financial projections that a bank or an investor or a lender might be looking at. So it's really important to know who your exact audience is and who this business plan presentation is aimed at so that you can tailor it to their needs. Just a few things that get entrepreneurs in trouble when they're building out not only their business model canvas, but their business plan. Most people who work with business owners, they see this every day. If you use supported data, if you do the market research, if you find the facts, it's going to help combat actually many of these. The first one, a lack of clarity. That's just being too general, talking about your business idea, but not giving data, not being able to clearly communicate exactly what you're trying to do. What is that pain point, that problem you're trying to solve? Being too general about it and not supporting it with real information about who that customer was and why they need it. So you want to keep it simple, but you need it to be succinct. Lack of continuity and consistency. Your numbers aren't backing up your statements, or you talk about everyone loving your product or everyone is a customer. I know that I'm going to sell 500 pounds of this and I'm going to get into all the Whole Foods markets. And where is that information coming from? How did you know that? You want to be conservative in your estimates, especially as you're building out your projections, and you really want to check your numbers. You don't want to say that you're going to have 5,000 customers in the first 6 months if that's not possible. And then proofread for errors. Make sure that there's not general spelling informational issues and make sure your verbiage is correct. Lack of realism, the market size, when in the radius there are only 10,000 people and you're telling me you're going to get 100,000 customers, or you're going to be able to work with these 3 restaurants, but you're saying I'm going to start accounts with 12 restaurants, but there isn't that opportunity really there. So make sure that you're being realistic and be conservative. Compare the best and the worst case scenarios and then kind of just go with the middle there. So lack of flexibility, not acknowledging the competition or threats, that shows. I want to introduce this idea of the SWOT analysis, and I think that some of you probably have heard this before. The SWOT analysis, the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, really helps you identify risks. Just like how we use a business model canvas here in this session to be able to define some of the big questions that are a part of developing your business plan, a lot of people use a SWOT analysis. They break that out into the 4 blocks. They ask the questions that go with it. And I 100% recommend that. You can find information online about doing a SWOT analysis and really identifying what are the opportunities, be honest about what are the weaknesses that you have. This is a real part of a business plan. If you go out there and you say, there's no competition, I have no weaknesses, I have no threats, that's not realistic. It shows that you haven't really identified the risks and prepared for what's ahead. So you've done the canvas, you want to take it into a business plan. There's a lot of great tools and resources for you. We're going to talk a little bit more about it in our next webinar or our next live plan session, that we can get into detail a little bit more about your business plan and how to use revenue drivers to help you develop your business model. But here's some great free resources for you. You really want to build your team and your network. You want to find and access these free resources that can help you review and strategize, conceptualize, and really develop your business plan. You can utilize your peers. You can sit together with a canvas, talk about it out loud, be strategic. You can connect with others in the industry, do research. So the SBA has a lot of phenomenal free tools for you that we highly recommend. You contact all of them. Contact all of them, because you never know when you can meet somebody who's going to have that one experience or that one friend who's been in that industry, who has a different perspective. And if you go and you connect, you have a lot of people to turn to when you have questions. And I want to take a moment and highlight SCORE. SCORE has had a long history of working with the U.S. Department of Agriculture and offering one-on-one mentoring for agricultural businesses. They are a great resource to have to help you build your network and to build your business plan. They'll stay with you for the life of your business, and you can't miss on an opportunity to have a business mentor if possible. Of course, I'm from the Veterans Business Outreach Center, here to support you, here to help connect you to resources. And then not listed on this page is places like your extension office at the university, your state beginning farmer and rancher program. Find every ag-focused program in your state and surrounding states or nationally, and get engaged where you can. The Farmer Veteran Coalition has great resources, and you can register, get their newsletter for free. So some key takeaways: go online and print a canvas, start filling it in. Make one for every product that you plan to sell, or every business idea that you have in your head, or every property that you're looking at. Or if you already have a farm and you're already selling products, go back. Make sure that you understand exactly who the customer is and what the channel is for your product. That'll help you understand the viability of what your business model is. Take the time to research and plan out your business. All of those resource partners on the last page can help you conduct market research. The extension office, they can help you understand what that market looks like for your product. Then take this canvas, connect with the resource partners, talk with a team of advisors, be strategic in your thinking, because the more people you have to review your idea, the more you're going to get out of it. And this is my contact information. I'm from the Veterans Business Outreach Center of New England. VBOCnewengland.org is our website. You can reach out, sign up for one-on-one business advising as well, and take the opportunity to talk about your business idea with one of our advisors. Once again, connect with as many resources as you can. I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to connect with you today and talk about the ideas about building your business plan for your agricultural business. And I also just want to thank you for your service and your continued service, because food security is an important mission, and we're so grateful that you've stepped up. Have a great day. Thank you.